Module 5. Topic: Arizona State Liquor Laws Continued. Information to be covered in this module. Number 1. Inspection of premises. Number 2. Retaining business records. Number 3. Purchasing alcohol for resale. Number 4. Storage of alcohol. Number 5. Sampling of alcohol. Number 6. Legal hours of alcohol sales and service. Number 7. The legal age to sell or serve alcohol. Number 8. Liquor licenses. Number 9. Required signage. And number 10. Title IV violations. According to ARS 4-118, all establishments must allow an inspection of premises. During business hours of a licensed premises, any authorized DLLC employee or commissioned law enforcement officer must be granted access to all areas as well as all required business records of the licensed premises. They also must be able to answer all questions. According to ARS 4-119, a licensee shall keep records of a licensed business activity. The records must include a current employee log of all persons employed at the licensed premises, including each employee's full legal name, date of birth, address, and responsibilities. The records must be maintained for a minimum of 2 years. In Arizona, it is illegal for a person to buy for resale, to sell, or deal in spirituous liquors without first having procured a license duly issued by the board. A retail licensee may only purchase alcohol from an agent of a wholesaler that is licensed in Arizona. Spirituous liquor purchased at the retail level cannot be sold for the purpose of resale, as a license holder cannot purchase spirituous liquor from another retailer for resale. All spirituous liquor that is purchased for resale must be from a licensed wholesaler. In other words, spirituous liquor cannot be purchased at a grocery store and then resold in a restaurant or a convenience store. It is also important to know that all spirituous liquor purchased from the wholesaler must be stored on the licensed premises unless written permission from the director is given for the liquor to be stored at a different location. The only liquor that can be stored on the licensed premises is that which the premises is licensed for. For example, if your establishment is licensed to sell beer and wine only, then you cannot have distilled spirits such as vodka, gin, whiskey, etc. at your premises. This also includes using alcohol for cooking, such as using vodka in a recipe. In essence, if the establishment's license does not allow the sale of distilled spirits, they cannot use vodka to make a vodka sauce for pasta. Also, if the establishment does use an alcoholic beverage to cook with, such as wine, the product must be purchased through a licensed wholesaler. It cannot be purchased from a retail store. It is illegal to sell or provide at one time to a single person more than 50 ounces of beer, 1 liter of wine, or 4 ounces of distilled spirits in any one drink or multiple drinks. However, on-sale retailers are exempt from quantity restrictions for selling and delivering an opened original container of distilled spirits, such as a bottle of rum, gin, bourbon, etc., if and only if the on-sale retailer's employee provides service or pouring and the employee monitors consumption to ensure compliance. Locking devices may be used but are not required. The guest is not allowed to pour their own drinks. An employee must be the one who pours the alcohol. Any contents of the bottle that are not consumed by the customer must be disposed of. In other words, what the guest doesn't drink must be poured down the sink, also known as alcohol abuse. In the never-ending battle of conducting business, all managers/owners, etc., are constantly looking for ways to increase sales. One way to increase sales is by offering samples of spirituous liquors. There are 2 types of sampling privileges available in Arizona, and each type of sampling is conducted differently. The first type of sampling privilege is a temporary sampling permit, which gives temporary permission for a producer or wholesaler to hold a sampling event at a licensed retail location with a maximum of 12 events per year. The second type of sampling privilege is a permanent sampling permit, which gives an unlimited number of samplings. It is available to licensees of liquor store, Series 9, and beer and wine store, Series 10, licensed establishments. For a temporary sampling permit, a third party hired by the producer or wholesaler is permitted to conduct the sampling, but for in-store sampling, the following has to be adhered to. Sampling shall be limited to 3 ounces of beer or cooler type products, 1 ounce and 1/2 ounces of wine, and 1 ounce of distilled spirits per person, per brand, per day, and the sampling shall be conducted only on the licensed premises. Let me explain how this works. 1.5 ounces per brand per person per day. If a customer wants to taste two different wines, for instance a Merlot and a Chardonnay, and they're both made by the same winery, the customer could only receive 1.5 ounces total for that brand. If the Merlot and Chardonnay were made by two different brands, the customer could receive 3 total ounces. If they are sampling beer, then the customer can have one 3-ounce sample or 3 different samples of 1 ounce apiece. If your customer is sampling distilled spirits, the samples combined cannot exceed 1 ounce. For example, if 4 different vodkas are being sampled, then the customer can only sample 1/4 ounce per sample. For a wholesaler to conduct a sampling at an on-sale premises location, the following procedures must be adhered to. Sampling operations shall be conducted under the supervision of an employee of the sponsoring producer or wholesaler. Sampling shall be limited to 12 ounces of beer or cooler products, 6 ounces of wine, or 2 ounces of distilled spirits per person per brand. If requesting the on-sale retailer to prepare a drink for the consumer, the producer's or wholesaler's representative shall pay the retailer for the sample drink. The producer or wholesaler may not buy the on-sale retailer or the retailer's employees a drink during their working hours or while they're engaged in waiting on or serving customers. The producer or wholesaler may not give a keg of beer or any other spirituous liquor and any other gifts or benefits to the on-sale retailer. All sampling procedures shall comply with the federal sampling laws and regulations. For an off-sales premises, the following must be adhered to. Sampling shall be conducted by an employee of the sponsoring producer or wholesaler. The producer or wholesaler shall notify the department in writing or by electronic means not less than 10 days before the sampling of the date, time, and location of the sampling. Sampling shall be limited to 3 ounces of beer, 1.5 ounces of wine, or 1 ounce of distilled spirits per person per day. An off-sale retailer shall not permit sampling to be conducted on a licensed premises on more than 12 days in any calendar year. Sampling shall be limited to one wholesaler or producer at any one off-sale retailer's premises on any day and shall not exceed 3 hours on any day. A producer conducting sampling shall buy the sampled product from the wholesaler. The producer or wholesaler shall not provide samples to any person who is under the legal drinking age. The producer or wholesaler shall designate an area in which sampling is conducted that is in the portion of the licensed premises where spirituous liquor is primarily displayed and separated from the remainder of the off-sale retailer's premises by a wall, rope, door, cable, cord, chain, fence, or any other barrier. The producer or wholesaler shall not permit persons under the legal drinking age from entering the area in which sampling is conducted. The producer or wholesaler may not provide samples to the retailer or the retailer's employees. Sampling shall not be conducted in retail premises with a total of under 5,000 square feet of retail space unless at least 75% of the retailer's shelf space is dedicated to the sale of spirituous liquor. The producer or wholesaler may not give spirituous liquor or any other gifts or benefits to the off-sale retailer, and all sampling procedures shall comply with federal sampling laws and regulations. At times, new products are introduced to an establishment's spirituous liquor choices, and the employer might want its employees to taste the product so the employee can describe the beverage to a customer. For an on-sale location, the only way an employee can sample the beverage is this: they cannot be actively involved with customers, and they cannot be serving customers. The samples of beer or wine are not to exceed 4 ounces per day, or distilled spirits cannot exceed 2 ounces per day when provided by a wholesaler or distributor and consumed in their presence. There cannot be more than 2 training sessions in a 30-day period. Many times, a representative of a winery, brewery, etc. will leave a bottle of their product that can be sampled by staff at a different time. There are a couple of ways for this to be legal. For an off-sale premises, the product can be taken off location and sampled, but the product must be stamped and be an unbroken package. If the establishment holds a Series 12 license, then the product cannot be removed from the premises. It has to be sampled on site. Other restrictions. Your establishment cannot have all-you-can-drink promotions for a set price, and such promotion cannot be advertised. It is illegal to allow contests that require drinking spirituous beverages, such as beer pong. In short, any game that requires contestants to consume alcohol beverages is strictly prohibited. When a customer consumes or purchases a spirituous beverage, they cannot receive any compensation, such as a gift, coupon, prize, etc. Although trivial novelties such as magnets, keychains, etc. can be given away as long as the person doesn't have to consume or purchase any spirituous liquor. This does not prevent the distribution of trivial novelties for advertising purposes. It just requires that distribution not be dependent on alcohol purchases or consumption. Legal hours of alcohol sales and service. The legal hours of alcohol sales and service are from 6 a.m. until 2 a.m., Monday through Sunday, basically 7 days a week. However, there is some other information you need to be aware of. For off-sale premises, all alcohol sales must stop at 2 a.m. For an on-sale licensed premises, at 2 a.m., all alcohol sales and service must stop and all tabs have to be closed out, although your guest does have until 2:30 a.m. to finish the drink. Once it is 2:30 a.m., the drink must be pulled from the guest. If your establishment is licensed to sell to-go spirituous beverages, such as a 6-pack of beer, then the alcoholic beverages must be removed from the premises by 2 a.m.